Ito. Game.
Ayan, nandyan ka na. Okay, ayun. Let's go. Actually, meron akong news roundup sana pero I'll give way to this. Wala namang problema. Pwede natin unahin ito. Ayan. So, I have no idea kung ano, kasi they just told me na meron kang content about me, but I haven't watched it. Hindi, wala pa.
Okay. Pero na-watch ko naman yung mga content mo. Na-watch ko naman.
So for the benefit of myself and for everyone, if you can kindly enumerate, enumerate it and parang treat it as if wala talaga akong idea kung ano yung mga point of contention mo. Ganyan.
Sige, gawin ko na lang is ilatag ko yung pagkakaintindi ko sa point mo and then you just agree or disagree and then doon natin pag-usapan.
Yeah, we can start from there. Correct.
Okay. Kasi parang ang pagkakaintindi ko sa point mo is dapat si Mayor Magalong is pumunta sa Senate sa inquiry. Unang-unang ang argument mo is parang you feel like he's saying or pinapakita niya na he's bigger than the Senate. Unang point yun, right?
That is the implication. By having no valid reason to refuse the attendance sa Senate, yun yung implication. Kasi taking into consideration the reason that was revealed later on, kasi ang sinasabi na reason kaya siya nag-refuse doon is because it is a strategic decision na ang laban daw is nasa HOR.
Ang gera.
Yung gera daw is nasa HOR. By virtue of those two information that were revealed as a reason of his refusal, the implication is, I recall that what does he exactly feel? Does he feel that it is up to him to decide kung nasan ang laban? And if so, if he feels that he is actually entitled to do something like that, so the inevitable consequence of that is for me to assume that he feels like he is bigger than the Senate.
Pero how does that follow? Kasi napanood mo naman yung sinabi niyang reason na gusto niya muna sa HOR, hindi sinasabing hindi siya pumunta sa Senate, right? You agree with that? Ang sinabi niya is, gusto ko sana muna sa HOR kasi nandun yung gera. Pero pupunta rin siya sa Senate after. Ngayon, nagdi-disagree ka ba na nasa Congress ang gera?
Yeah, I disagree.
Okay. Ano yung points?
Okay, ganito. Okay, there are valid reasons to refuse the invitation of the Senate and the HR. These are the things that we have to lay down, okay?
Yeah.
These are the things that we have to lay down, okay? The Congress and the Senate, they have the same power. They have the same power. And that power is to do investigative legislative inquiry on certain matters under the sun of executive. Yeah. So it just so happened that the Senate and the House of Representatives are both conducting investigation on the flood control projects. Okay. So this is something that is settled. This is fact. Okay. Kapag ka nag-invite ang Congress at saka ang Senate, you cannot refuse unless you have a valid reason. Okay? You cannot refuse unless there is a valid reason. Ngayon, what are those valid reasons? The valid reason, most of the time, it is accepted. Yung talagang, malaki yung chance na tatanggapin ng Senate at saka ng Congress. Yung reason mo of refusal is if you are going to parang excuse yourself dahil siguro for medical
reasons. Yeah.
Ganyan. O di kaya another reason is, for example, it is so short, the notice is so short, you are out of the country, you cannot be in one place at the same time. In that case, you can actually offer alternative. Like for example, I can still attend, but you say your predicament and things like that. So, as a general rule, hindi mo kasi talaga po pwedeng i-refuse yun. Hindi mo talaga siya pwedeng i-refuse. Okay. Nevertheless, I think yung fact na yung ginamit na reason ni Magalong for not attending the Senate inquiry, I don't think it is prudent. Because above anyone else...
So you can?
You can refuse, but it's not prudent. It's not prudent. Okay? It's not prudent. Why? Kasi nga, above anyone else, Magalong should understand rules and authority.
Correct.
The House of Representatives and the Senate are both wielding the same power on the same matter. So
Correct, I
ngayon,
agree.
it's not up to Magalong to say that the fight is there, and kasi by saying na the fight is in the Congress, so are you saying na walang laban, walang nangyayaring laban sa Senate? That's very very imprudent. Okay? I would have understand Magalong kung ang ginawa ni Magalong is nag-attend siya sa Senate and then respectfully ask the Senate na I cannot I would like to respectfully reserve certain matters because there are certain matters that I would like to discuss in Congress. That would have been okay. But attend. Mag-attend ka pa rin. 'Di ba?
Wait.
Mag-attend ka pa rin.
Joey, how is that different? How is that different na sabihin ko na mas prefer ko dun mauna kasi I cannot divulge any information right now here sa Senate?
Because his preference cannot dictate.
No, it
It is
can
not
because
his preference is not bigger than the power of the Senate and the Congress.
that is true, pero that is allowed, right? Like for example, kayo, yung unang invitation sa
and
inyo, hindi naman kayo pumunta, right?
It is allowed, but it is imprudent.
Well, imprudent doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong strategically, correct?
Well, it is imprudent. As a government official, you have to be prudent. You have to respect rules and authority.
That's why sinabi niya respectfully, sana dun muna ako sa HOR kasi nandun yung gera. So balik tayo sa point na nandun yung gera, you disagree na nandun yung gera, right?
The Senate and the senators also disagree with Magalong.
No, sa iyo na lang muna ako. So, nagdi-disagree ka nandun yung gera, at the same time, sinite mo yung dalawang examples, right? Una, si Toby Chanco yung una.
Oh yeah, Toby Chanco, yeah. Oo.
Okay, sabi mo dahil hindi siya pinagsalita doon, hindi siya ang sinasabi mo is ano yung point mo doon na hindi siya pinagsalita ng gusto mong i-prove doon? Na nandun yung gera o wala?
Walang gera sa HOR.
Dahil
Because, okay, if Magalong would like to go to the HOR because nandun yung gera, what exactly are you fighting? What exactly are you fighting? Fighting for? Truth?
yeah, and confront the accused.
Okay. So, klaro. So,
Correct.
gustong pupunta ni Magalong sa HOR because gusto niyang mag-truth telling sa HOR. Okay. Now,
Correct. In both sides, of course. Sa Senate tsaka ano rin. Oh.
We have seen how HOR thwarted truth in many occasions. Okay? In many occasions.
The
Ngayon,
Congress?
Yeah, in Congress.
The House. Oh.
We
Okay.
have seen how the Congress thwarted truth in so many occasions. Okay. So ngayon, kung gusto ni Magalong at pine-prefer niya na mag-truth telling sa HOR, I do not see the strategy there. I cannot what do you call that? I cannot really parang do a 1+1 na parang gusto mong mag-truth telling.
No, you just did.
Mag-truth telling sa HOR?
No, you just did actually. You just prove it. Sabi mo kanina, kay Chanco, hinaharangan, marami silang tinatwart nila yung truth. Then you just admitted that the war is there.
What kind of war nga? If our
Kasi
war is
you just said it.
War for the truth, how can you tell the truth in HOR?
Because you confront them with the truth and with evidence yung accused mismo.
How can you confront them with truth? Toby Chanco couldn't. Kaya
Yun nga yung point eh.
Sa Senate eh.
Yun nga yung point eh. You have to agree first that the gera is nasa Congress because they are the enemies. Do you agree they are the enemies?
No, they are the enemies. But going there is not the only way to fight the enemies.
No. Pero andun yung war. Kasi kung walang tension, walang war, right?
Yeah. Ganito lang simple. The enemy is the House of Representatives. If I'm going
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
of course.
go.
I'm fighting
Okay.
the House of Representatives since day one. Diba?
Yeah.
Are the enemy. I am fighting the House of Representatives since day one.
Exactly. You're the example of it.
Yeah, and you have to understand that going to the House of Representative is not the only way to fight the House of Representative. Now, what I cannot understand is why the truth is dependent on the fact whether or not Magalong is going to be invited in the House of Representative in order to fight them.
No. Teka. ito yung point eh. In both houses, the Senate and ito yung lower house, parehas truth yung gagamitin mo, correct? You agree with that?
Exactly.
Okay, so walang difference sila sa pagtelling ng truth, right?
Exactly.
So there must be something else of value rather than telling the truth.
What do you mean?
Kasi kaya nga sinabi ni Mayor Magalong, yung sa Senate kasi mas credible tsaka mas maraming friend list dyan. May friend list yung Senate. So ibig sabihin the tension is not there. The tension is in the House.
What does that has something to do with truth? So
No,
ibig sabihin,
yun nga yung point ko eh.
You can tell the truth in the Senate, you can tell the truth in the HOR, so why do you make any preference between, why Magalong has to make a special preference sa HOR over the Senate? Eh, yun naman pala, sinabi mo na, inamin mo na, pwede kang mag-truth telling sa Senate, pwede kang mag-truth telling sa
Exactly.
HOR. In fact, you can also do truth telling outside those spaces.
No, yun nga yung point na parang feeling kong hindi mo magets eh. Kasi hindi mo magets na you agree na either Senate or House of Representatives, truth is the weapon, right?
Why the preference? I agree, you can tell the truth anywhere. So,
Hindi, kaya nga. Wait. You agree with that, right?
Yes, you can tell the truth anywhere. So, can you please explain to me kindly why the preference over HOR?
Ito na nga. Kasi ikaw lang naman yung nag-smuggle na it's about pinagtatapat mo yung Senate tsaka yung House as labanan ng truth. No, parehas truth.
No!
Ngayon, wait, ako muna, please.
I just said, no. Let me just, I am not pitting Senate and HOR. In fact, what I said, you can tell the truth anywhere.
Exactly.
Diba?
So ano na value ng truth?
The value of the truth is something that you owe to the people.
No. Sabi mo kasi, ano difference ng sa Senate and then sa House? Eh kung truth lang din, tama? So ano na ngayon yung value ng truth dito? Maybe there's something else, not just that truth, right?
Exactly. So ngayon, iniisip ko, ano yung ibang value pa na vina-value ni Magalong, kaya pinrefer niya yung House of Representatives. Maybe he's concerned for the truth.
Yeah, ito na nga yung gusto kong i-point out eh.
Ano yung concern niya other than the truth?
No. Given na nga yung the truth. Yun nga yung weapon mo eh. Either houses, yun yung weapon mo. Ngayon, ikaw yung nag-smuggle na it's about the truth. Only. Right? Ikaw yung nag-smuggle lang na yun lang yung mission. It's about the truth only.
What are the other mission then? Enlighten me. What are the other
Kaya nga,
missions?
isa sa mga point ni Mayor Magalong is nandun yung gera. You have to confront your enemies.
So, ano exactly yon? Ano exactly yung confrontation na yon?
Yung confrontation na yun,
What's the value?
unang-una, the value is how do they respond to the evidence that you have if you're face-to-face with them. That's an investigation 101.
And
That's why you interrogate the people,
what
right?
do you expect to solicit from there?
Of course, the truth. Yun nga. So, ang ginagawa mo...
Akala ko ba, the value, there is something else aside from the truth?
No. Punta tayo sa value. Value evaluation tayo. So ngayon, punta muna tayo sa Senate. Kapag nagbigay ng truth si Mayor Magalong doon, that's it. Truth. Just truth.
Okay?
Right?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, pag pumunta naman siya ng Congress at nagsabi siya ng truth, ano meron? The truth and the resistance.
Okay, so
Mas may value dito, yung truth na hawak mo.
okay, so you're saying that this value that you assign, pag pumunta siya sa Senate, okay, pag nagpunta siya sa House of Representatives, is enough for him to undermine the Senate. Is that what
No,
you're
I
saying?
never said that. I never said that.
That's why I'm asking. So you are saying na yung resistance na tinutukoy mo,
Sa House.
okay, sa House
Aha.
is more valuable than going to the Senate and truth tell there.
No,
Is that what you're saying?
no. You truth
Kasi-
tell both sides.
Okay, hindi ka nga makakapag-truth tell kapag sa HOR kasi is there an
No,
invitation
says
sa
who?
House? Is there an invitation?
Yun nga kaya nga tinotonte yung House para imbitahan siya. Pero ang point doon is gusto niya mauna sa House.
Okay. Gusto niya
Okay.
mauna sa House. Okay, so ngayon, walang invitation.
Mhm.
Walang invitation. Now,
Mhm.
there is a deadlock if you're going to make that a condition to truth-telling. As a private citizen, what do I get from it?
No,
There
that's just
is no
self-defeating.
value for me. No. Teka lang.
Okay.
Agree tayo.
Mhm.
Sa Senate, pwede siyang mag-truth tell doon. Sa
Aha.
House of Representatives, pwede siyang mag-truth tell doon.
Sa
And
media
then,
pwede rin, right?
Sa media, pwede rin. And
Okay.
pwede siyang mag-truth tell sa House of Representatives and then plus some showdown on resistance. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this value that you assign dun sa House of Representatives wherein merong truth-telling at merong
Mhm.
showdown of resistance,
Yeah.
but
You get
it
yeah.
is preconditioned, it is conditioned upon whether or not the Senate is going to invite him, right? So, ibig sabihin,
correct.
my truth is hostage. My truth is hostage. The truth that I want to hear from Magalong is hostage by the fact whether or not Magalong is going to be invited or
Not
not.
necessarily. Not necessarily. Kasi, ito nga,
So
tamo
how can he be there no invitation?
tamo. Ito yung sinasabi ko yung ni-strawman mo, Joey. Kasi, you agree na hindi niya sinasabing ayaw niya pumunta.
There.
You do. Ito, papaliwanag ko sa'yo.
There's
Papaliwanag ko sa'yo.
step there. How can that be an exaggeration or a simplification of the issue? There's
Ito,
clear
ipapaliwanag ko kung bakit. Do you agree na hindi sinabi ni Mayor Magalong na ayaw niyang pumunta sa Senate? Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Pero you are assuming na yung truth is hostage because walang invitation.
Sa Congress. Kasi doon niya gusto pumunta eh.
Oh, so sa sinasabi mo lang, doon niya lang hindi masabi hindi niya lang makukuha yung resistance roll, right?
Sorry?
Hindi niya lang makukuha yung resistance na gusto niya doon sa House, right?
Sa House, oo.
Pero truth is hindi hostage. Kasi may Senate pa, may media pa. Paano naging hostage?
But that is going to be further invitation. Ngayon, iba na kasi yung Senate President. I mean, there's going to be an entirely different, So,
I know that, pero that's what I mean when you're strawmanning it.
No. Let's talk about, the premise is, invitation was already given nung Monday.
Correct.
That is being refused. Okay?
Correct.
My question for you is this.
Mhm.
Why is it justified for
Na?
him to refuse that invitation and to prefer a non-existent invitation of HOR? Why is it justified?
Bakit justified na na-refuse siya at mag-wait siya sa HOR? HOR?
Why is it justified?
I just explained you get more value from going to the HOR first before the Senate.
And I said again, that value is not really very valuable because the value that you assign sa HOR na truth and resistance, showdown ng resistance, is actually hostage by the fact na kung iimbitahin siya ng House of Representatives or not. Okay?
Correct.
Ngayon, ibig sabihin na forgo mo na yung opportunity sa Senate and
Yeah.
yet, as a private citizen who wants to hear the truth of Magalong, I am deprived of an opportunity to hear him out dun sa very, very session na nangyari nung Lunes. Because that kind of session is not gonna happen again.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
the
but
leadership, this is when the politics is going to take,
I disagree with the politics.
but you have to you have to recognize that because that's really part of the reality. Ngayon, yung hindi niya pagpunta nung Monday, that kind of hearing is never gonna happen again in the Senate. Why?
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah,
leadership
sure.
already changed. The leadership already changed. And I am telling you, yung mga contractor na nagsalita nung Lunes are going to say different tune pagdating ng susunod na mga hearing.
Yeah,
So,
unang-una, that's an assumption.
It's not
You agree with that?
It is.
So,
Because
pag inimbitahan siya ni Lacson, mali ka, ganon.
Ha?
Kapag inimbitahan siya ni Lacson, mali ka na.
No, pag inimbitahan siya ni Lacson, he still forgone the opportunity to be in the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing led by Marcoleta, which is handled very differently than Lacson.
So hindi
When
pa
we
forgone,
handled-
delayed lang.
Ha? It's not
Hindi
a delay.
forgone, delayed lang.
No. Forgone. Kasi
Bakit?
yung Blue Ribbon Committee headed by Marcoleta is not gonna happen again.
Oh, it's about Marcoleta now. Yung ba yung
It's
point?
about how the hearing is going to be handled. It is about
What do you
how the
mean?
hearing is going to be handled. Because,
Yeah, okay.
okay, now, this is when you have to be politically sensitive and you have to recognize the political reality. This is not just about logic, Kayo. This is not just
It is.
about... No, it's not. It's not. You have to take into consideration when you do your strong logical analysis on this, you need to have strong recognition of political realities. And the
That's
political
abduction.
reality is magkaiba ang pag-handle ng Blue Ribbon Committee ni Marcoleta at saka Blue Ribbon Committee ni Ping Lacson. I'm very sure of that.
There's still logic. Do you get that? That's still logic. The different
logic
context, different
based on-
context.
Yeah, it is logic, but it's based on two different political consequences.
Correct.
And-
I don't have a problem with that.
You have to recognize that. So ngayon, ang sinasabi ko dito is that yung finorgan na opportunity ni Magalong is yung opportunity to be in that specific hearing na kung saan nagkaroon ng massive karaoke nights sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, because that might not happen again. I really think that but this one is an assumption, but I really think
Agree.
because of the change of leadership in the Senate presidency, magkakaroon ng ibang tune yan. Magkakaroon ng ibang tune ng mga salitaan ng mga contractors, ng mga kung ano-ano. You know, this assumption is based on certain facts that are developing today. In fact, Marcoleta wanted the Diskaya to be under a witness protection program. Because of the New Deal leadership, they do not want that to happen.
Pero, wait lang, Joey. Pero, you are...
Ano na,
Nagpa-plug in ka na kasi ng subjectivity doon sa point eh. So ngayon, kasi ang sinasabi mo kasi ngayon, yung Blue Ribbon Committee ni Marcoleta, wala na yon, na-lose niya na yon. Tapos ngayon yung kay Lacson, halimbawa kay Lacson, right?
Subjectivity that is based on reasonable grounds. It is not
Pero-
just subjectivity out of flimsy reasons.
No, how do you reason now sa mga taong nagsasabi na wala silang tiwala sa komite ni Marcoleta because he would protect the Dutertes. That's why this one is better. Ngayon, meron tayong Mexican standoff ngayon, right?
Now, what is the basis of that?
I know, pero those are assumptions.
No. But it has to be reasonable. It's not on the same footing, Kayo. Kasi, ito yung sinasabi ko, no? When I say that there's going to be different leadership attack ng Blue Ribbon, ni Ping Lacson, at saka ni Marcoleta, there is a very reasonable fact supporting it. It is not just subjectivity out of flimsy air, out of thin air. Ano yung proof ko dyan? Okay? Marcoleta's direction of wanting, remember ha, yung pinapakanta ni Marcoleta is not just the Diskaya. Si Wawa pinapakanta rin niya. Yung ibang mga contractors pinapakanta rin niya. Hindi lang naman mga Diskaya yan eh. Yun yung offer ni Marcoleta. That is how he handled the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Ngayon, when he wrote the Senate President about putting these contractors, specifically in this case, yung mga Diskaya, under witness protection program, etong si Tito Soto, he doesn't want to approve it. Okay? So when I say that there is going to be a very, very different approach pagdating kay Ping Lacson, okay?
Yeah, I agree with the different.
Conjecture, okay, there is a reasonable ground to believe that way. Ngayon, kapag sinabi mo, yung presumption mo na sinasabi mo yung standoff natin na, ay hindi, pag si Marcoleta poprotektahan niya yung Duterte, what's the reasonable basis?
Yeah, pero this is the problem, Joey, kasi facts don't speak. No, I'm sorry. Facts don't speak for themselves. People do.
But yeah, give me the reasonable ground when you said that when you said that Marcoleta is going to protect the Dutertes. What's the reasonable ground?
May nabanggit ba ang Duterte?
No, you said it earlier.
Hindi, may nabanggit ba ang Duterte doon sa Diskaya?
Na,
May nabanggit ba? Di ba siya sabi sa Congress may natinatago, right? Like for example, yung kay Bongo. May
Ano?
nabanggit ba?
what do you mean? Hindi ka,
Na contractor.
wait lang wag muna tayo dyan. Doon muna tayo sa sinabi.
No,
mo.
that's my point. Kasi
Oh.
facts don't speak. People do make hypotheses about the facts.
So, ano basis nung sinasabi mo na
The facts as well.
Like what?
Wala nga dun yung kay Bongo, right? Wala yung sa
Kay
contractor
Bongo?
about kay Bongo. So how
Okay.
do you respond to those people?
Because, okay. So, ibig mong sabihin, dapat nasama si Bongo sa issue. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
kasi sabi ko nga kaya kayo magkakaroon ng Mexican standoff eh. You're assuming
But
that you are
wrong,
correct, they're
Caillou.
assuming they are correct.
But you are wrong, Kayo. Okay, wait a minute. You're wrong, Kayo, because do you know the reason why they are conducting the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing? Do you know the basis of that?
Na basis ng.
Okay, the basis of that is the speech of Panfilo Lacson.
Correct?
The speech
Okay.
of Panfilo Lacson doesn't talk about Bongo's flood control project.
Mhm.
So why
Okay.
are you looking for Bongo's flood control project there when it is not part of the privileged speech of Panfilo Lacson?
Nick, yun nga yung point eh. Kasi if we're going to investigate it, di ba dapat all?
No, hindi. Kaya hindi ka po pwedeng magpasok ng mga argumento na hindi part ng coverage ng hearing. And then say, and you cannot cry over it because walang Bongo na sinabi kasi hindi talaga siya kasali. Sa speech ni Panfilo Lacson, hindi naman talaga siya kasali.
Hindi yun yung point ko. Ang point ko is, nag-plug in ka ng subjectivity do sa mga inilalagay nating variables.
You are the one being subjective because Bongo is not really part of the Blue Ribbon.
O, i-rewind natin yung argumento mo, ha? I-rewind natin, Joey. Sabi mo, na-lose na ni Mayor Magalong yung chance sa Blue Ribbon Committee. Right? Sabi ko, hindi na lose. Na-delay lang. Kasi meron pa naman na, Blue Ribbon eh. Sabi mo, pero iba yung kay Marcoleta, iba yung kay Lacson.
Exactly.
Yeah, but how do you differentiate na to? Kasi iba niya hinandle. Mas maayos yung kay Marcoleta. Well, some people would say yung kay Lacson yung mas magiging maayos. Pero how do you... May subjectivity na ngayon. So, that's a Mexican standoff. So ngayon,
It's not a
the problem
standoff.
is... No, it's a Mexican standoff. Kasi sasabihin nila, ba't di mo binanggit to? Binanggit to. Right?
You're not substantiating properly. Okay?
I am. You're not making an argument, Joey. O sige, why is it not? Okay, why is it not?
I am making an argument based on what is supposed to be the full backdrop of this. The problem, Kyle,
Okay.
is you don't understand the entire backdrop of the Senate Blue Ribbon.
That's your
Committee.
claim.
Okay?
Oh, that's your claim.
No,
Oh.
you do not understand. Kasi naghahanap ka ng Bongo issue dito eh. Hindi naman talaga kasama yung Bongo.
No, sinasabi ko lang is pag naglagay ka ng subjectivity, i-open mo yung floodgates for subjectivity. That's my point.
You were the one who inserted subjectivity by putting Bongo issue in the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee inquiry.
No,
Na hindi
ikaw yung kay Marcoleta at kay Lacson, ikaw naglagay ng subjectivity.
That
Sinundan ko lang.
subjectivity is reasoned out. Okay?
Pero you agree that's subjectivity, right?
Yeah.
Okay na ako doon.
And that subjectivity is reasoned out. Can you please reason out your subjectivity by putting Bongo in an inquiry that is not really a part of?
Pero agree ka nga subjectivity yung ginawa mong yon, yung kay Marcoleta at sa kay ano.
Answer my question. I answered yours. So can you please tell me what is the basis of your subjectivity when you said that Bongo's issue should be part of the inquiry?
Because we're talking about the corruption, flood control, and then sabi nga, iimbatahan nilang yung ibang contractors, right? Okay,
then that
titingnan
is
nila,
a
iimbestigan.
misunderstanding.
Kung iimbestigan lang pala yung fifth, kala ko ba gusto pa sagutin?
Yeah. Sige, go.
Okay, so kung gusto mo palang imbestigan lahat, bakit may kailangan piliin? Okay, pwede mo rin ipasok yon, right? O kung pwede mo ipasok yon, pero hindi mo pinapasok, other people would say, that's a biased committee. Okay, the same way na sasabihin mo kay Lacson, that's a biased committee.
May I respond?
You have the same... Yeah, sure.
Okay. You can insert it. Wala rin namang pumigil na i-insert yan.
Correct.
Wala rin namang pumigil na i-insert si Bongo eh.
Correct.
Okay? However, okay, hindi rin naman pinigilan. Pinigilan ba ni Marcoleta na i-insert si Bongo? In fact, it was Bongo who spoke about it. Siya mismo yung nagpasok ng issue niya sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. In fact, I called him out nung pinasok niya yung drama niya dun sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Kasi parang for me, hello, Huwag mong gamitin yung Senate Blue Ribbon Committee.
So you're proving my point.
No. I'm not proving your point, okay?
Sabi mo, pinasok ni Bongo pero hindi investigahan. Come on.
Yeah. No. You're misunderstanding it. It doesn't follow. It's non sequitur. Okay? Ang point dito is this, okay? Gusto mo ipasok yung issue ng issue ni Bongo. Okay? Yeah, they can question that. In fact, anyone here can actually ask question about Bongo. In fact, gusto mong ipasok yan, ang nagpasok nga mismo ng issue niya sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, si Bongo mismo. But when he did that na siya mismo yung nagtanggol dun sa sarili niya. Wala pa namang nagtatanong, siya mismo yung nagtanggol sa sarili niya. In fact, okay, I called out Bongo on that kasi hindi yun prudent. Hindi yun prudent na gagamitin mo yung oras at time ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee in order to defend yourself na hindi ka naman tinatanong. Okay. Now, there is a clear misunderstanding of the backdrop of this investigation. So that is why logic is not enough, because understanding of governmental structure, understanding rules and processes and the functions of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee is also very important. You are looking for question and answer, questions propounded against Bongo. Di naman siya pinigilan. But you also did not take into consideration that the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee was actually this specific hearing is actually premised doon sa privilege speech ni Panfilo Lacson. I do not know if you've heard that. Narinig mo ba yung
Yeah.
Yung privilege speech niya?
Yung una-una,
the privilege speech of Ping Lacson is actually confined, of course, doon sa mga flood control projects, yung mga budget insertions and things like that, and yung nangyari doon sa Oriental Mindoro. So, how did the Senate Blue hearing went on? How did it go? I mean, how did the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee how did it deal with the investigation? Andun si Governor Dulor. Andun rin yung mga pinagtatatawag yung mga allegedly ghost project, yung mga information na pinagsasabi ni Ping Lacson, those were tackled. Ngayon,
so okay, linawin ko lang.
If you want to add on the issue of Bongo, wala ka namang pumigil. Hindi nga nagpapigil si Bongo eh. So, why are you inserting that? Kasi ang hinahanap mo, magpo-propound din ng question against kay Bongo. Yeah, that can be done.
No. Teka. Ulitin ko yung argumento natin kanina. Sabi ko, gumagamit ka ng subjectivity to actually compare the Marcoleta and the Lacson Committee. Okay? Sabi ko yun. Right?
Okay, do not stop there. Okay, kasi
hindi pa lang. Hindi, nag-explain lang ako. Iniisa-isa ko lang.
But you have, hindi nga. Pag iisa-isahin mo, kumpletuhin mo. I made
Hindi, gusto lang kita pa-agrihin.
I cannot agree with that. Kasi sinasabi mo parang it is subjectivity.
So, did you just say you made an assumption?
Na?
Yung tinatanong ko sa nagkaroon ka ng subjectivity kay Marcoleta and Lacson, did you just say, I made an assumption because?
Okay, so continue. Sabi, I made an assumption based on, sasabihin mo rin yung basis ko. Sasabihin mo rin yung basis. Okay, go.
Correct. So, sabi ko kasi, you made an assumption. Ngayon, ang problema rin sa assumption dito,
what is my basis of my assumption?
Sabi mo sa facts. Tama?
Then, why facts is like that? Facts is facts.
Because facts don't speak for themselves. You have to hypothesize using this, right?
Yeah. So what is my basis in facts? What is the basis in facts of my assumption?
Yeah, again. If you make a hypothesis from the facts, it doesn't mean your hypothesis is correct. You have to test it, correct?
Yeah. But it is reasonable. It doesn't mean it is wrong.
Yeah, that's true. That's why you have to falsify it. But my point is, facts don't make hypotheses. Humans do. You agree with that?
Yeah, no problem with that.
Okay. Ngayon, if the same facts, set of facts, is actually observed by the opposition, like the PBBM supporters or the kakampings, they would have a different hypothesis. Do you agree with that?
Of course, kasi iba yung basis nila. Okay.
Good.
Okay, Kayo. It is not about creating different. Magkakaiba talaga tayo. That is the natural course.
Exactly. That's why it's subjective.
Political political biases, okay?
Correct.
Because we have political biases. Ang labanan dito, hindi yung kung ano yung hypothesis ko, kung ano yung hypothesis niya. Ang labanan dito is reasonability on how you formulate your hypothesis.
Correct.
So that is
Correct.
why I told you, when you say that I am subjective, you are subjective.
I agree.
But what is your reason? So you do not have to pay attention dun sa pagkakaiba natin kasi magkaiba talaga tayo. What you have to pay attention on is the basis of your biases. Reasonable ka ba o hindi? So I am asking you again, nung sinabi mo na dapat ipasok yung issue ni Bongo doon sa Marcoleta
Which you
trial.
agree na pwede ipasok, right?
Okay, pwedeng ipasok. So,
Correct.
what
Okay.
is your basis na sinasabi mo na dahil hindi pinasok, pinaprotektahan niya ang Duterte?
Because that's how they view it. That's my point.
Who viewed it?
Yun yung sinasabi na hindi dinamay yung mga Duterte, ibig sabihin pinagtatakpan ni Marcoleta ang mga Duterte. The same way na sinasabi mo na mas okay yung kay Marcoleta kaysa kay
That is
Lacson.
unreasonable.
Yeah, you're saying that. You're saying that. Pero that's my point with plugging subjectivity in the logic of it. Kasi ang sabi ko lang, teka, so hindi delayed yung ginawa ni Mayor Magalong. Hindi lost. Delayed lang.
It's a loss.
See,
Because
you're saying that kasi pinasok mo yung Marcoleta versus Lacson, right?
Yeah.
Okay, pero pag tinignan mo siya, it's still a committee about investigation without any bias.
No, because you do not want to play here the political realities. That's the problem. You want to think that it is the same, but it is not the same. That is what I am explaining to you because you're not recognizing the political reality of the two circumstances.
Kaya nga sinasabi ko na parehas nga Mexican standoff nga kayo. Kasi they're saying the same thing.
No. You're just going to say it is Mexican standoff because you do not want to recognize political reality. And
No, I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm not
you
saying that.
are. You are.
I'm not.
You are not recognizing political realities here. Marcoleta is perceived as pro-Duterte. Ping Lacson is perceived as going to be full-on anti-Duterte. And you're saying there's no difference?
Sabi mo, pro-Duterte Marcoleta. And then sinabi mo ngayon, anti-Duterte si Lacson. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. And then you're saying that there's no difference.
Okay, so ibig sabihin, hindi, ang sinasabi ko is may subjectivity nga, may bias parehas eh. Okay? So Mexican standoff nga eh.
Kayo, because politics is really subjective.
Kaya, pero maganda tong sinabi mo actually. You're just admitting it. Sabi mo, pro-Duterte si Marcoleta, anti-Duterte si Lacson. Okay, sino sa tingin mo?
That is just to simplify everything, ano?
Yeah,
Kasi
correct. That's fine.
Parehas to. Okay, sinasabi mo, parehas to na parehas ang ganito, parehas ang ganyan. Pero kanina, sinabi mo na hindi, ang perception nila dito kay Marcoleta, for the sake of argument lang yan, ano? For the sake of argument, let's just simplify everything. Marcoleta is pro-Duterte, Ping Lacson is going to do a full-on anti-Duterte investigation. So, why are you saying that it's going to be the same? That it is just delayed?
It is just delayed. Because we're not talking about the Duterte sa side ni Mayor Magalong. Ang sinasabi ko is yung logic nung sinasabi mong forgone o wala na. Ang sinasabi ko lang, hindi, delayed lang. Ang sinasabi mo, hindi, forgone na.
Forgone na talaga.
Dahil, ang sinasabi mo, forgone na siya dahil wala na yung pro-Duterte chair?
Well, if Magalong wants to be fair about it, if you think Magalong is capable to be really, really fair about it, why don't you attend the pro-Duterte Blue Ribbon and the anti-Duterte Blue Ribbon? Because that's also a test of the credibility of his truth.
Actually, talo ka dyan. Alam mo bakit?
No, ano talo?
Malalaglag ka dito sa point ko. Alam mo bakit? Sabi mo, forgone, in-smuggle, in-ad hoc mo ngayon. So ngayon, ang sabi mo is, teka, wala na, forgone na. Kasi dapat kung fair siya, dapat pumunta rin siya investigation ng pro-Duterte. Right? So ngayon, sinasabi mo ngayon, dahil si Lacson ay anti-Duterte, ngayon, pangit na ngayon investigasyon. Tama ba?
Well, I reckon that it's not going to be unscripted investigation.
So, okay, you base that kasi si Lacson ay anti-Duterte.
This is for the sake of argument because inano ko yung sinundan ko lang yung logic mo kanina eh. Diba? Yung tawag dito na people perceive Marcoleta is pro-Duterte. So,
Yeah.
sinunod mo lang doon. So ngayon, well, we perceive that Ping Lacson is anti-Duterte. So sinakit
Yeah.
ko lang yung
Which is actually is reality sa inyo. Pero
sabi mo,
ang point ko lang doon is maglagay ng label kung ano yung Mexican standoff. Kasi ako, I don't actually care about those things. Kasi ang sinasabi ko lang investigation eh. Hindi siya forgone. Delayed lang. So,
Okay.
ibig mo ba sabihin, yung truth na sasabihin ni Mayor Magalong is magbabago kay Marcoleta at magbabago kay Lacson?
yes.
So, hindi na yung truth, right?
Hindi na yung truth. Ang na-forgone doon, yung opportunity for Magalong to actually withstand his truth, for his truth to withstand different scenario. Na pagka pro-Duterte yung, for the sake of argument, for the Duterte, pro-Duterte Senate Blue Ribbon to ferret out the truth, at yung truth niya magbabago ba kapag kunwari anti-Duterte yung nag-investigate. Yun yung opportunity na forgone dito ni Magalong.
So, question ko sa iyo, Joey, ano ba yung Congress? Anti-Duterte o pro?
Hindi ako natalo doon.
Ano ba yung Congress? Yung House, ano ba yun? Anti-Duterte o pro-Duterte?
Anti-Duterte, clear anti-Duterte.
Why would Mayor Magalong say nandun yung gera?
I do
Saan
not
mo siya
know.
ilalagay?
Hindi ko nga siya gets kung bakit sinasabi niya na nandun ang
Hindi ba
gera.
self-defeating yung sinasabi mo na gusto niya ng fair pero at the same time gusto niya makipaggera sa anti-Duterte? How does that
defeating. Okay.
follow?
Because one thing that you also do not understand, Kayu, you do not see Magalong as a politician. Hindi mo rin kasi tinitake into kasi that's the problem. No? I think when you argue kasi, you try to put fury on everything and you do not recognize
Like you
the
do.
political reality. Like I
Yeah.
do. Because
Yeah.
I have a very strong political sense. Okay? Ngayon, hindi ka po pwedeng mag-argue nang nasa ivory tower ka, na logic mo lang to. You have to recognize political reality. Like for example, paano magiging self-defeating yung sasabihin niya na nandun ang laban sa House of Representatives? Again, we are talking about truth here. Now, if you want to ferret out the truth, ngayon, Magalong is a public official. Magalong spoke about the corruption in the government. I have been waiting for him to spill the beans and say and tell us everything that he knows. Ngayon,
Tama ba yung pagkakaintindi ko?
Nag-agree tayo kanina na Magalong can actually tell his truth in the Senate, in the Congress, okay? And in the media and in any other spaces, okay? Wala tayong problema doon. Nagkaroon tayo ng problema kasi you put premium in the House of Representatives, in the guise of strategy, in the guise of delayed lang yung participation sa Senate. And this is actually very, very insensitive to the political realities of each circumstances. Okay? Ngayon, yung sasabihin mo kasi na hindi naniniwala nga siya nandun yung gera kaya siya dun siya pupunte. Well, it's actually very unhinged kasi if you want to truth tell, House of Representatives is not the most ideal place to truth tell.
Because it is anti-Duterte, right?
Because it is anti-Duterte and
Correct.
of course they don't give spaces to people like Magalong.
Yeah, sinong matinong tao ang gustong pumunta sa Congress na anti-Duterte, correct?
Well, we can go there. If we are invited, wala namang kaming choice dyan. It's the same manner that if you are invited in the Senate, you go there kasi wala ka rin choice dapat doon.
Pero how do you explain that? Na si Mayor Magalong is gusto niya at tinuturing niyang gera is nandun sa Congress na you admit na anti-Duterte. So, how would you explain that doon sa sinasabi mo kanina na actually nawala, na mo yung na forgone mo yung pro-Duterte side? Kung ang gusto niyang gawin is pumunta sa gera at dismantle niya yung house ng anti-Duterte.
So you believe that Magalong can dismantle the House of Representatives? Is that what you are telling me?
No, I'm not saying that if he wants. I'm not saying na he can do that. Okay, don't misrepresent me.
No. I do not understand why Magalong thinks that he has to go in the House of Representatives to truth tell. Up until now, I do not understand.
No, dismantle, not truth tell. Kasi either side nga truth tell eh.
Oo nga.
Either way.
Why prefer House of Representatives? Why prefer the House of Representatives?
Kasi nga doon nga yung gera. You just admitted that kanina.
At ano nga yung gera doon? Ano yung gera doon?
Because they are the accused, right? Martin Romualdez, Saldico, nandun sa house. Right? So, nandun yung gera because they are the accused. They are the guilty ones.
What can Magalong do exactly?
Sinabi ko sa iyo yung value kanina, parehas truth tell. The problem is, kailangan mo ng tension to actually get more information from them.
That is when you are becoming unhinged sa reality. If Magalong is gonna go to
You
the
keep
House
claiming
of
that.
Representatives, I can claim that. Because that's the process. As an invitee, okay? As an invitee of the House of Representatives, bilang resource person, you cannot ask questions. You cannot ask questions against this congressman. Pagdating mo doon, di ka makakapagtanong. Hindi mo pagdating sa House of Representatives, they are not accused. Hindi accused ang House of Representatives. Pag nagpunta ka doon, resource speaker ka lang. You cannot ask questions against this congressman. So when
Correct.
you tell me you want to face with them, bakit? If you're going to face with them, anong matatanong mo sa mga yan? Papayagan kang magtanong?
That's why it's key yung ginagawa ni Mayor Magalong na tinotont sila. Kasi kung resource speaker ka lang, they will be just parang okay lang yan, wala lang yan. Tanong question. But, yung tinawag na moro-moro, yung ngayon sinasabi mas credible yung Senate, that will burn their asses. They will become hostile to him. That's why he's creating that environment.
Okay. It casts doubts on the intention of Magalong. Kung ang gusto ni Magalong ay magkontan lang sila ng House of Representatives at magbardagulan lang sila, me as a private citizen, I do not want to have anything to do with it. Because what I want now is his contribution to find a solution for this fucking flood control issue. If
I agree.
The priority of Magalong is magbardagulan sila ng House of Representatives, that's not my business. And for me, that is fence-sitting. That is fence-sitting. And if you are fence-sitting, then I don't like you.
Pero bakit kailangan maglagay ng more credence ni Mayor Magalong sa gusto mo kaysa sa gusto ko?
Because I am part of the citizenry.
I am part of too.
Yeah, and I deserve the truth.
Okay.
And Magalong
I deserve the truth as well.
Yeah.
And
Magalong
justice.
Magalong claims that he knows the truth. Then why
I know.
don't you tell us?
Pero nga, ba't nga siya magbibigay ng more credence sa gusto mo kaysa sa akin, sa gusto ko?
I'm sorry?
Ba't mas magbibigay siya ng more credence sa gusto mo kaysa sa gusto ko?
I do not know if to whose credence is going to pay more attention.
Exactly.
What I'm saying, as part of the citizenry, bahala siya sa gusto niya. Ngayon, kung kunwari, ikaw yung ifa-follow niya, then I don't like him because he's a fence-sitter for me.
Exactly. So kapag sinabi, pag ikaw naman yung finalo niya, ayoko na rin sa kanya, right?
Yeah, and that's okay.
Okay.
And I disagree.
So ngayon, the best case scenario here is to follow what he decides to do based on the investigation and his conviction, correct?
Whatever he wanted to do as a part of the citizenry, I just want to know the
Correct.
truth.
Correct.
He claims to know. I just want to know the truth that he claims to know. So kung hindi yan ibibigay sa akin ni Magalong, well, you have no use for me.
Ako, mas gusto ko, hindi lang yung truth yung gusto ko maging held accountable yung mga yan.
Yeah, of course. Tayo rin naman, lahat naman tayo, yun naman ang gusto natin. Kaya, you cannot
truth
hold
lang yung gusto mo.
accountable. You cannot hold anyone accountable if you do not know the truth yet. Okay,
No,
kaya nga nandun tayo sa truth eh. Kasi pag nalaman natin yung katotohanan, that is the time we can run after people. And then, accountability follows. Okay? But do not say something like, ito ang mas gusto ko. Gusto rin namin yun. Wala namang nagsasabi na hindi namin gusto ang accountability.
Hindi, pero gusto mo truth lang eh.
Oo, ano ba naman yan?
Kasi you don't want to entertain strategies.
Kayo. The reason why you want truth is because you want accountability. You cannot have accountability.
Not necessarily.
Ano not necessarily?
So, ang ibig mo sabihin, like for example, si VP Sara, sinabi niya na kay Saldico tsaka kay Tambaloslos. Now what? That's the truth, right?
Yeah, that's the truth.
Oh, where's the justice?
And the truth is, paano where's the justice?
Sabi mo kasi, kapag gusto mo yung truth, gusto mo ng justice? No. Ang gusto mo lang kasi truth, sabihin niya lang. That's it, right?
No.
Ano bang gusto mong gawin niya?
Okay. When Inday Sara talk about Saldico and Martin Romualdez, okay, And I don't know if you had been following me, di ba, we are always running after accountability ni Saldico at saka ni Inday Sara. We want government officials to move. But I just don't understand. I don't think we have to debate on this. I am not that stupid to just run after the truth. Of course, kaya ako nagpo-political vlogging because I want accountability, transparency, and
Yeah, but that's my argument. My argument is you're running for the truth. And Mayor Magalong held accountability even before kay Pinoy pa lang, right? You agree with that?
Okay, yes, okay.
He accomplished that.
Just do not be sarcastic on it na parang I just
I'm
want
not.
truth pagkatapos ayaw ko ng account. Of course not. That's the basis of my entire political vlogging career, my God. Na hindi, you just want truth, but of course not. Ito yung sinasabi ko if you're going to be so theoretical about this, if you're so going to be A plus A then B, and pagka ganyan.
No, I'm not like that.
But you exhibited just.
I'm a pragmatist.
Yeah. So, as a pragmatist, you understand that if I am after truth, because the truth is the very foundation of accountability and transparency moving forward. So you don't say, ito lang sinasabi ko, let go of that. Hindi mo po pwedeng iba to sa akin na sasabihin na you just want truth, you do not want When Inday Sara talk about it, we are always running after accountability. Kaya nga yung content ko after that, we are running after Saldico and Martin Romualdez ever since Kaya nga we are convincing everyone, we are trying to build consensus that the real culprit here is Martin Romualdez and Saldico.
But that's not my point. My point is you keep saying na you know better than the strategists na who actually secured accountability from Pinoy and others sa Sub 44. You're questioning that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm questioning
But
that.
what have you done? You keep running for the truth.
Anong what have I done?
Sinasabi mo, kaya nga habol kami ng habol kay Romualdez, so accountability, you haven't secured anything. The guy secured one.
And what does that has something to do with our conversation now?
Because
That
kanina
is
sabi mo lang, kapag hindi sa akin binigay ni Magalong yung truth, and then I don't like him.
You know that is a fallacy.
What fallacy?
Anong nagawa mo? Si Magalong, ito na ang nagawa niya.
No, because I said I'm a pragmatist. I only evaluate concepts through its practical bearing.
But
The
you
guy
have to agree with me. That is
secured
a
accountability.
fallacy. Okay? That is a fallacy.
No.
So you are saying na ano ang nagawa ko? Si Magalong secured accountability kay Pinoy, pero ako ang nagawa ko. First and foremost, let me explain why it is fallacious. Magalong and myself are not on the same position. Probably, kung ako yung nasa posisyon ni Magalong, I'd probably do what he did kay Pinoy because that's the right thing to do. Then
Right.
we would be on the same position, and then you can ask me by then, anong nagawa ko, anong nagawa ni Magalong.
So nag-agree ka na mas may magagawa yung tao dahil sa posisyon siya?
I am a private citizen, okay? I am a private citizen, never a military person, and you are asking me anong nagawa ko at compare sa nagawa ni Magalong. Very, very fallacious. Okay?
How?
Ngayon, because we're not the same. How can you ask me what I have
that's
done compared to Magalong? Hindi ka
Pero that's my very argument. You just
And your
agreed na may
argument is
magagawa siya, right?
Exactly, kaya nga I am demanding more.
Why are you demanding more? You haven't done anything. What do you know about it? He secured one. He's in the position. Ikaw ang sabi mo lang kanina, hindi, kapag hindi binigay sa akin ni Magalong yung truth na gusto ko, I don't like him.
He's a fence-sitter, yeah.
You never mentioned any about justice or accountability, secure that those people na makulong niyang mga yan.
Kung hindi mo na nakita sa implication ng mga sinasabi ko yung truth and justice and whatever, kasi parang hindi ko sinabi, so you're excluding it? That's also
No, kasi yun yung sinabi mo kanina. Ikaw mismo nagsabi nun.
That's a non-sequitur argument.
Kasi kanina nga, di ba, ina-argue ko yung value kung bakit sa house muna to secure it. Dahil magkakaroon ng tension, interrogation, hindi magkakaroon ng tension.
Teka yun, si Sas nasa backstage, okay lang bang paakyatin ko siya?
Oh, go.
Okay. Sige. Okay, continue, go.
Okay. So, sabi ko nga, di ba kanina dun pa nga tayo nag-uusap na this is about the strategy. You disagree with the strategy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you disagree with the strategy kasi you don't agree na nandun yung gera.
Yeah.
And then you also agreed na yung mga yun is anti-Duterte. And also you agreed na yung mga suspects nung mga si Saldico tsaka si Speaker is nandoon.
Yeah.
Okay, how can you say now na wala dun yung gera?
Because, mali ka na dun sa presumption mo kanina na sinasabi mo, nandun yung mga accused. Kasi pagpunta dun ni
Correct.
Magalong, they are not going to act as accused. It is Magalong who's going to be questioned there, not Magalong
Correct.
questioning them. So,
Correct.
ano yung value ng strategy nyo?
Ikaw magbibigay nga siya ng...
Walang
gera
gera
dun.
doon.
May gera doon.
Ang gera, pareho tayo magbabarilan. Pag nasa house ka, yung congressman lang ang babaril sa'yo.
Hindi, magbibigay ka ng evidence eh.
No, it is
Oh.
the congressman will determine what you're going to present or not. Ano ba? That's the reality.
So, ano ka
Hindi.
ba kapag tell
It doesn't matter. Nagbabarilan pa rin sila. Paano hindi naging gera yun?
The congressman will determine the congressman will determine when you're gonna speak and how
And when-
long.
That's
when
still
you're
war.
No. It's not a war. It's not a war.
It's not a war. A war.
Unhinged ka na. Unhinged
A
ka na sa
war.
katotohanan.
A war is when the two of us is in a level playing field.
No,
And then-
that doesn't matter kung level playing field tayo. It doesn't matter. That's still a war.
I know.
You're saying,
Ano yung balance? Ano yung balance ni ano?
Wait.
I'm just curious kayo.
wait, are you saying, Sas,
Sas, ano yung balance ni Magalong sa war na yan?
evidence to actually implicate those people?
So can he
And
present
then
those
they will react to it, right?
He
So
cannot
can he-
speak when the congressman don't want him to speak.
Yeah, kaya nga naging hostile sa kanya, kaya nga nag-create siya ng environment para maging hostile sa kanya.
Kaya nga, so pag hindi na siya pinagsalita, edi wala nang war.
May war pa rin.
Paano mag-war? Ang war sa Kongreso, chikahan. So
Oo
pag
nga.
hindi kita salita, wala nang war. Sila
Nandun
lang
ka pa rin.
yun.
No.
Yeah.
No. You're confusing. You're conflating two things. You're conflating na yung war is tayong dalawa lang at yung war na nangyayari na iba yung kalaban. Baka mamaya yung turn ko.
You do not
Sinasabi
the
natin
problem
dito,
is,
ang sinasabi natin dito is the reality of what's going in Congress. If you're in
Yeah,
Congress,
I agree.
So ano ba yung
Yeah, I
work?
agree.
Sandali nga, ano ba, give us a concrete manifestation of how war in Congress is going to happen between Magalong and the congressmen.
Okay, ganito. Pag ako
Wait
sumugod
lang,
sa isang...
wait lang kayo, just one point, okay? I think the problem is you do not recognize the political reality of what
You keep saying that.
Congress is. Yes, because that's really very evident. That's really
Na,
very
I am
evident.
the only one saying na they're the enemies.
No.
Hindi nga.
No, we are saying they are.
Paano ko sa reality?
Kasi nga, hindi mo naiintindihan kung paano sila nagpa-function. Parang
I agree.
lagi kang sabi na, hindi, yung war pa rin yan, ganyan.
Hindi kaya nga Joey, tanungin natin siya ng konkreto. How can you give us a concrete example of how do you think war is going to actually play out during
In the
a
Congress,
congressional
yeah.
hearing?
Yeah, unang-una, ikaw, marami ka sinasabi sa labas. Sinasabi mo, moro-moro to. Sinasabi mo na hindi magiging ano dito. Tapos marami ka ini-implicate ng mga tao, magsasalita ka. Sino? May
Okay.
ebidensya ka ba? Yung papakita ka ba ebidensya?
That is
So you're assuming na ganyan yung magiging line of
Ano
questioning ng mga congressman na implicated.
You're assuming too. So, we are in the same boat. So, anong point mo?
I'm not assuming. This is just really
assumption. We talk about your assumption.
No.
Ito talaga
So you're
nangyayari
saying-
sa Congress. Tayo naman.
Ito rin naman yung nangyayari sa sinasabi ah. Ito yung sinasabi ko, hindi naman yung sinasabi ah. Yung sinasabi ni Ridon, di ba? Oh, paano ako hindi out of reality ako?
Hindi
You're out of
nga.
reality because you're assuming that the Congress is going to ask Magalong and give him time of the day.
Oo.
So, ibig mo sabihin hindi siya pagkasalitain?
Very
Ang
likely.
gagawin
Even
hindi,
better.
Ito naman si Kayo, para naman hindi mo napapanood yung mga congressional hearing.
Na I just
Parang
explained to you
ganito
kung ano
lang
yung
yan.
nangyayari.
Hindi, parang ganito lang yan kayo. If you are guilty, at ikaw yung mag-i-investigate doon sa tao nag-aakusa sa'yo, what would be the line of your questioning? Would you like yung nag-aakusa sa'yo to reveal and give would you like yung nag-aakusa sa'yo na maging maganda ang kanyang image doon sa hearing? Let's
Siyempre,
just be real.
Wala naman akong argumento eh. Granted. So, anong point?
Exactly.
Ano parang naging contradiction sa sinabi ko?
Yeah, so ang point doon, then you're not going to a war. You're actually going there in order to give them the chance in order to make you look bad. And that is exactly what actually happened to the Discayas.
That's another form of war. So, that's another form of war. So, anong point mo?
Let's remove this concept of war because this is too abstract and metaphorical. Let's be concrete because the Congress the Congress has an exact procedure that is not being grasped well by your metaphorical device.
Correct.
Let's just
I
put
don't
it
get that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Ibig sabihin nun,
Ibig sabihin, yung understanding sa...
Kayo kasi ganito lang yan. You cannot just deploy a metaphor that is not actually categorically analogous to what we are talking about.
But
that's the topic.
I think yun yung exactly yung point. You are always speaking about war. Oo, kaya tayo nagkakagulo eh. Kasi you're always speaking about war as if war, the concept of war, is analogous doon sa situation sa House of Representatives. It is not. Hindi siya pantay.
Okay, why not? Okay, sige, why not?
Yeah, Sas already explained it earlier. Itong war na
Kasi
to,
saan nakakita ng war na yung kalaban mo ang magdidikta kung kailan ka babaril, kailan ka hihinto, kailan ka magsasalita, kailan ka pwede ka na lang makontempt at wala kang you cannot have an offensive capability in order to actually shoot back without their permission. That's not a war.
They may have an upper hand, but it's still a war.
Hindi ka nga
it is a
pwede.
war. It is a senseless war. Okay, ito kayo. Yeah, sige, sabihin na natin. Agree na ako sa'yo. It is a war, but it is a senseless war. So why go there?
It's still a war.
Yeah, it's a war. It's a senseless war. Like Ukraine and Russia.
You shouldn't be agreeing with me kasi that's the
No, I
point
agree
na
with
andito
you.
ako sa taas.
Hindi war.
You shouldn't agree with me.
Agree na nga ako eh. It is a war,
Hindi,
but it is a
define
senseless
war.
war.
Hindi,
So
ganito na lang,
do you
define
give
war.
value? Why do you give value on a senseless war?
Well,
Hindi,
how is it
Very
senseless?
important for you that it is a senseless war.
Hindi,
How is it
define war.
senseless?
Because
Define
it is a
war.
war. Okay, teka lang Sasa. Teka lang Kali. It is a senseless war because kaya tayo nagpunta dito sa House of Representatives. Sabi mo, kasi magto-truth tell siya dyan. Dahil nandyan yung mga accused. Okay?
No. Parehas nga mag-truth tell yung sinabi ko.
Yeah, oo nga. Pero
Yeah.
may preference nga sa House of Representatives. Klaro na tayo dun eh. Dun na
Because?
Okay? Doon nga niya po gustong pumunta, gusto niya doon mag-truth tell na pinakaunang-una, okay? Yun yung nanalo sa Miss Universe dahil yun ang pinili niya, yung House of Representative, because the truth tell siya doon. Doon ang kanyang premiere night ng kanyang truth-telling extravaganza. Ngayon, sinasabi mo, war you
Kulang.
on. Ang sinasabi, okay, ang sinasabi namin,
Confront the enemies, right?
ano?
Confront the enemies.
Confront the enemies, yung
Okay,
sinasabi
go.
mo, whatever, ganyan. Sige, doon niya gustong pumunta kasi yun yung perceive niya ng mga enemies. Dahil nandun ang war. So pagdating doon, yung perceive mo na war, na luging-lugi ka, na hindi ka naman talaga makakalaban ng todo, okay? Na hindi ka naman talaga pagsasalitain dahil your assumption that they are the accused is actually not encapsulated in the realities of a congressional hearing. Okay?
Okay.
Hindi ganon ang nangyayari sa hearing. So this war that you are regarding as worth fighting, we do not see the value to it. You put value as in, it's still a war. This is a war. So you are saying it is still a war worth fighting for. We are saying it is a war that is senseless. So why
Yeah,
Magalong?
like fighting corruption, right? Kasi because we cannot actually remove it.
No. Ano na, tawag dito, you're conflating different idea with...
No, you're saying it's senseless. We're not saying it's senseless. That's your position.
Yeah, I'm saying it's senseless. You insist that it is a war. Fighting corruption through this war is the senseless one. Of course, fighting corruption is always a war worth fighting for, but that fight is not confined in the House of Representatives.
It doesn't make it less worth fighting for, right?
It does make it less worth fighting for because, again, you agreed he can truth tell outside House of Representatives.
Correct. But he cannot confront the enemies there.
Why? What is so
Actually,
important about confronting the enemies?
Yun nga yung binibigay kong value eh. Sinasabi ko nga kanina pa eh. Parehas ka magto-truth tell. Bakit ako magsasettle sa truth telling lang if I can get another value? If I can maximize my truth telling.
What's the other value?
Confronting the enemies to get more information.
Is going to the House of Representatives the only confrontation that can be done?
So you think that you can get information in the Congress from the accused?
Yeah, because of their reactions. That's how investigators do it.
There are several flawed assumptions on your end, Kayu. You assume that the only confrontation can happen in House of Representatives. That is false.
So, ibig mo sabihin, kapag kinonfront kita ng evidence right now, for some reason, bawagan to, ano bang pinakasikat na accusation sa'yo?
Hindi naliligo.
Hindi naliligo. For example, nagpresent ako sa'yo ng video, eto, 1 week, andito may CCTV dito. Never kitang nakita pumunta na CR.
Pero that
You'll get a reaction, right?
No, that assures kayo that the congressman will allow you to show the video.
Yeah, yung hindi nga nila pagbigay ng ano eh, yun pa lang, meron ng information dun.
Yeah.
Wala,
mo?
Hindi, kasi nga, ganito lang, kung may video ka na lang din, hindi palabas mo na sa Facebook.
Mali! Ayun nga hindi nyo maintindihan eh. Why would I do that?
Bakit mali?
Bakit? Kasi pwede ko siyang i-publish anytime, right?
Kaya i-publish mo na. Bakit ka pa naghihintay? Ano pang hinihintay mo?
Kasi nga may value nga sa i-confront mo, ibigay mo yung video at ayaw niya.
Kaya itong value na sinasabi mo, dito nagkakaroon ng doubtful sa intention ni Magalong. Kasi you give credence on the bardagulan extravaganza. The people do not need that. The people just need the truth.
No. Parang kayo yung out of reality. Tama. Wait ah. Bibigyan ko ng example.
Action kayo. Look at.
Bibigyan ko yung example.
Galit sila, dilusog na nila. Wala nang truth tell. Action ka agad. O, sa Nepal.
I disagree with that. I'm sorry.
Sinulog nila yung
so what's the value in going to the House of Representatives and confronting them sa hearing?
At mababago ba yan? Mababago o meron ba? Ito na nga, ilabas mo na ngayon. Tapos na yan.
Yun nga yung kanina ko pang ina-argue eh. Okay? Ito pa yung kanina ko pa ina-argue na may extra value ako makukuha nang hindi ko ilalabas kagad. Kaya nga sinasabi ko.
So,
kaya, ito na weirdoan ako sa inyo.
Make a tangible measure dun sa value na yun. Kasi assign ng value, hindi namin maintindihan.
No. Ito nga, bibigay ko sa inyo mismo yung example. Example, gusto ko i-debunk nyo. Bakit kayo lagi sinasabi nyo kay Maharlika, sige, i-deny mo, ilalabas ko ebidensya. I-deny mo nga. Ba't kayo nagsabi ng ganon?
Sino nagsasabi
It's not analogous, It's not analogous.
It is analogous.
It's not analogous.
Bakit yung ginagawa yan? Sino yung out of touch sa reality ngayon? Kasi we've been doing that every day. Totoo ba? I-deny mo nga. Sige.
Okay. Tayo. I'm going to explain to you why it is not analogous. Okay? It is not analogous because it is a bardagulan between private citizens. Okay? Now, bardagulan between Magalong and the House of Representatives is a bardagulan between a public official who claims to know the truth and a House of Representatives which has a specific rules and procedure during the conduct of a House of Representatives committee hearing. Do we have those two things, those kind of qualification? Pag nagbardahan kami ni Maharlika, wala. Okay? So that is why ang bardahan namin ni Maharlika, free for all. Walang rules doon. Pero ang bardahan between a public official and the House of Representatives is confined with their mandate, with their rules and regulations, with the authority vested on them by the Constitution and things like that. So, your argument is not analogous. This is what I say.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
When you,
Pero ano ba yung analogy ko?
that's what I say with basis. What
Ano ba yung
I am-
relevance ng analogy ko?
Okay, ang relevance nito, you try to fit in situation that you assume that is analogous, but it doesn't hold water when we try to operationalize it.
That's a
So
claim.
that's what I'm saying.
That's just a claim. I want to hear the argument.
Argument from what? I just said the argument. It's
Say
not
mo,
the
it's a
same.
false analogy. Well, it's an analogy. It doesn't have to be exact. It's an analogy.
It's an analogy that is false.
Okay, then prove it.
I think that it is false.
Prove it.
I already prove it.
How?
Maharlika and myself are not bound by mandate. We are not bound by rules.
How is that relevant?
Because Magalong is a public official who claims to know the truth.
Again,
And
how's that relevant?
Because,
How is that relevant with my analogy?
ha?
How is that
It is
how is that relevant to my analogy?
Ayo, we are going around circles here, and I cannot believe you do not understand. That you
No,
can't
you're saying
understand.
it's a false analogy. You keep claiming things you haven't
Okay.
proven it.
Okay, I'm going
Oh.
to repeat. It is a false analogy. Sabi mo, yung argument namin, why, okay, why yung, hindi ba katulad lang rin yan, nung ginagawa nyo kay Maharlika, whatever, ganyan.
You confronting,
Okay.
na i-deny mo.
Oo.
Oo. Sa'yo mo ano
I
value,
am
tama.
saying,
Oo.
okay, I am saying, please
Mhm.
follow because I do not want to repeat this again. Okay?
Correct.
I am saying that your analogy is false. It's a false analogy. Bakit?
Because
Kasi, yung kami ni Maharlika, hindi naman kami bound by rules. It's a free-for-all barda. Walang rules dyan. Okay? Walang rules dyan. Now, you are talking about Magalong and the House of Representatives. Pagdating kay Magalong at saka sa House of Representatives, hindi yan free-for-all barda. Okay? Again, hindi yan free-for-all barda. Again, hindi yan free-for-all barda. Okay, what are the reason?
how is it my false analogy?
Okay. Why it is not a free-for-all barda? Because Magalong
Okay.
is a public official who claims to know the truth about the corruption. The House of Representatives is an investigatorial body for the sake of legislative inquiry on the supposed corruption that is going on in the flood control project. So what does that mean? Ibig sabihin, pag si Magalong at saka si House of Representatives nagbardahan, may mga rules kang dapat i-consider. Pag kami ni Maharlika nagbardahan, free for all yan, walang ganong rules. Is it clear? So that's
Clear
why
your clear your explanation mo para how does it prove na false analogy? Yeah, I just gave you the confrontation. I just gave you na you deny it, then you give the evidence. You've been doing that, right? You agree, you do that.
The proof is Magalong and House of Representatives has rules. Maharlika and I, we do not have rules.
How are the rules relevant to the analogy?
Because you have to follow the rules.
Yeah, is and ought. Pero paano siya
So,
problema sa
if you have to follow the rules, there's a difference, right?
So ibig
Okay, Kayu, what is the difference between having rules and not having rules?
can you actually search what's a false analogy? Kasi similarities hindi similarities, right?
Can you please
Ano?
answer? What
Ano,
is the difference between having rules and not having rules?
Rules. That's the
With
difference.
rules, you have to follow it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No.
That's your question.
No,
That's
it
your-
doesn't follow. It doesn't follow na you have rules, you have to follow it.
Now we are talking about government officials here. Ang
Are you saying,
presumption-
wait,
Okay,
are you saying the Congress have been following the rules?
It is the presumption that para pag parehas kayong public officials,
Hindi presumption, are they following the rules?
they are following
So
the
you just
rules
destroyed your
as
argument.
But where's the destruction of the argument there?
I ask you, the Congress have been following the rules?
Yeah, their own rules. They are making their own rules and they try to follow their own rules.
No, I ask you a question. The Congress, have they been following the rules?
Yes, and those rules are
Okay,
what we
thank
are
you for
trying
that.
to question here. Okay? Okay, Kayu, we went to the Supreme Court because the rules of the Congress is unreasonable. The unreasonable rules of the Congress is what they follow there. So your question, are you saying that they are following? Yeah, they are following rules, and those rules are actually what we question in the Supreme Court. You know why we have to question it to the Supreme Court? Because their rules is
No, I never
pursued.
said anything about the example. Why are you so defensive? I never said any example. I just asked the question. Are you saying that the Congress have been following the rules?
Yes, they are following their
Okay,
rules.
okay na sa akin nun.
Okay. So are you saying their rules, when they follow their rules, are you saying that it is always correct? So what's your point in asking, are they following their rules? Yes. So what's your point?
So you're saying
What's
now?
your point? Anong point mo doon? Ano yung point mo? When I said that they are following their own rules, what's your point?
Okay,
What do you
so
prove here?
since you already agreed, sabi mo, ito,
No. Kayo do not escape.
no. May dalawa kasi yung ano ko eh.
No. Just answer my question. Kasi that's
Okay,
how
go.
you escape my
Sige,
questioning.
pwede ba tayo magbigay ng time sa isa't isa? Kung kailan ako pwede magsalita, pwede ka pwede magsalita kasi
Wait lang,
dinodominate mo lang yung ano, yung usapan eh.
Hindi. Kasi
Oh.
ganito. Okay? Ang nangyayari dito sa conversation na ito,
Mm.
when you are being cornered,
No, ask the question. Sige, ask the question.
you add something else and you try to conflate the argument with other topic.
Another claim. You have to prove it. Alam mo?
I have
okay.
proof. I can enumerate if you want. I can enumerate.
No, make the argument, not just claims.
Okay, now, okay.
Mhm.
No, I can enumerate instances. In this evening, I can actually enumerate when you conflated the discussion, when you are asked question, you try to put in different topics. Several times
So
you did that
that's not
already.
conflation. That's a red herring, right?
You add different topic, totally different.
That's red herring nga. Hindi yan conflation, right?
Yeah, whatever, but it is not
Okay,
still
go.
logical. Okay, it's still
No.
not logical.
You cannot just claim nga things.
Okay.
You have to argue it. Oh. No, go. Ano yung question kanina? Sige.
Okay, when I say I can enumerate, that is not argument, that is just presentation of facts.
Yeah, claim nga yun, claim.
Yeah, and I can present it if you want. Yung instances na when you are cornered with a question, you try to put in different topics.
You just said conflation ganyan. Sinasabi mo sa tinatakasan ko, sino tumatakas ngayon?
Yung question. Tinatakasan mo yung question. So,
Ito nga, balik na tayo sa question na sinasabi mo tinatakasan ko.
Okay. So, okay. So, you want me to enumerate or you want
No, balik tayo doon sa question na sinasabi mo tinatakasan ko.
Okay.
Okay.
So, you want me to enumerate instances na tumakas?
No, yung sinasabi mong tinatakasan kong question ko kamo kanina, wag mong takasan, sabi mo kanina. Tapos they are requested, pwede ba tayo magkaroon ng time na kung sino, kasi dino-dominate mo yung conversation na hindi na ako makapagtanong, hindi na ako makapagsalita. So, sabi ko, bago ko sinabi, sabi mo, hindi, wag mong takasan yung tanong. O sige, balik tayo doon sa tanong.
Sa question. Okay.
Oo.
So, hindi ko na i-enumerate yung instances.
Mamaya na tayo dyan. Doon muna tayo sa
Okay.
sinasabi mong tinatakasan ko. Oo.
Sa tinatakasan ko, ayan, nawala na tuloy sa isip ko, nakalimutan ko tuloy,
Baka kasi hindi ko tinatakasan.
Hindi, tinatakasan mo talaga.
Oo.
Tinatakasan mo talaga. Okay, sige, isipin ko lang, talaga i-jog ko lang yung memory ko. What were we talking about nga?
Nag-uusap tayo tungkol doon sa relevance nung analogy. Yung sabi ko yung sa house, yung they have been following the rules. Tapos may gusto kang itanong sa akin, may gusto rin ako tanong sa'yo. Oo.
Okay. So ngayon, teka, pero parang tapos na tayo sa part na yun eh.
Oo nga, may gusto akong tanong kasi doon eh.
We were talking about yung sinasabi ko, hindi tama yung analogy mo between doon sa Maharlika and myself kasi yaan, free for all yung bardagulan na yan eh. You agree, right? Free for all
Sabi mo,
yan eh.
pagkakaiba ng rules and rules, not rules. Sabi ko rules lang.
Rules, okay, andun na tayo, tama. Okay. So andun tayo sa part na merong difference. Kapag ka private citizen yan, walang rules dyan. Okay? Full on board yan. Okay? Walang rules dyan. Full on board na yan. It's not for you to agree or disagree. Wala talagang rules doon. Your disagreement or your agreement on that doesn't matter. Okay? Ngayon, kapag kabardahan yan between private citizen, walang rules yan. Okay? Kapag ka, kunwari, government officials yung mga yan, okay? There are rules to follow. When there are rules, kasi ito kasi yung kailangan mong intindihin. Pagdating sa mga government responsibilities, government processes, there is a logical rule that are immutable. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan alam mo yan. You cannot argue ng pure logic dyan kasi meron yan mga legal premises that you have to take into consideration. Like, for example, all government official action are presumed valid unless declared invalid, unconstitutional, or declared by the court na kineme-kineme, ganyan-ganyan. So, that is why, okay, that is the time when I said that, kasi kanina tinatanong, ayun, naalala ko na yung question.
Ayan, ayan maganda. Sige, tanong mo na.
Naalala ko
Tanong mo
na.
na.
Yung, kasi ang sinasabi mo, ang tawag dito, I want to know, okay? Yung question mo sa akin na, ang tawag dito,
They have been following the rules. Sabi ko sa Congress, sa House.
nakalimutan ko yung question ko, Putrages, teka lang.
I asked the question kasi na, have they been following the rules? Sabi mo, oo.
Ayan, oo.
Oo.
Teka lang, tapusin ko lang para ma-jog ko lang yung memory ko. So, we are talking about yung whether or not they follow their own rules. And I said, yes, kasi whatever their rules that they make, they follow it. Ngayon, yung question whether or not their rules are reasonable or not is another question. My question for you is,
I agree.
why do you want to ask the question na are they following their own rules? Why is that question even relevant to this discussion?
Because sabi mo kasi, ang pagkakaiba is may rules ito, yung private. Yung private walang rules. Isa mo yung public may rules, right? Kaya I asked that question kasi two-prong yung question ko. Kasi you all agree na sabi mo, they have been following the rules. The Congress, okay?
They are presumed to follow the rules because that's a legal presumption pagdating sa government officials.
So you don't agree na they've been following the rules? Kasi why do you make a distinction?
Okay. Ito yung sinasabi ko na kailangan alam mo kasi yung mga...
No, I understand it. Very well.
Kailangan mo yung backdrop. Okay. Ang backdrop is, pagka government official ka, you are presumed to follow the rules. Okay. Now, if you're going to object on their rules, there are specific procedures in questioning those rules. Ngayon, ang question mo, are they following their rules? So, ang answer ko is, yes, they are following their rules. Ngayon, whether or not their rules are reasonable or not is a entirely different debate.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Pero bakit, why do you have...
Ang question ko again, yung sinasabi mo, ano yung basis ng two-prong?
Where did you have a distinction sa presume following the rules and they've been following the rules? Why are you making a distinction? I don't get it.
What do you mean making a distinction?
You just said they're presumed following the rules, right?
Yeah, presumed following the rules.
Okay, how is that different sa following the rules? Why are you making a distinction?
That's over philosophizing eh.
No, it's not. Kasi you're unconsciously making a distinction.
No. The distinction, okay, hindi mo naman nasundan eh. Yung distinction is on the essence of the rule. Whether the rule is reasonable or not, that's an entirely different debate. The presumption of them following their rules is equivalent to them following the rules. There's no distinction on that.
So, okay, yun nga yung sinasabi ko, why are you making distinction sa presume following the rules and they're following the rules? Kasi yung question na... Wait lang, pwede ako muna. Teka, explain ko lang.
Hindi mo nasundan yung sinasabi ko.
Hindi pa nga ako tapos, paano mo naintindihan?
Kasi nga mali na yung categories mo. Ang sinabi kong distinction is not between following the rules and presumed following the rules. Both are the same. Okay? Pagdating sa value ng dalawa niyan, both are the same. So stop talking about it. Walang difference yun. Yung difference na tinutukoy ko is the essence of the rule, whether I agree on that rule or not. Okay?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, of course.
Okay, that's a different debate.
Correct.
Okay? Ngayon, my question to you is, bakit importante sa'yo na tanungin whether or not they are following the rules or not?
Kasi you make a distinction kanina, di ba? So, ngayon, okay. Ngayon, kaya ako tinatanong yun.
Ano yung distinction na, can I validate? What is your understanding of my distinction?
Kasi, tinanong kita, so have they been following the rules? Whether the rules are bad or good, it doesn't matter, right? As long as they've been following the rules.
They are.
So why are you making a distinction? They are presumed following the rules. What are you talking about? They're talking about the same rules.
They are presumed to follow the rules. Ba't ka naku-confuse?
Yeah, kasi you're making a distinction nga.
Ano yung distinction na sinabi ko?
Ang unang-una, ito. So naniniwala ka, ulitin ko yung tanong naniniwala ka na the House have been following the rules, walang mintis. Their rules.
Yeah, they are presumed.
Para klaruin natin.
The rules, yes.
Presume kasi, what does that mean? Parang may category ka ba ng following the rules and their
Yeah,
presume?
because ang second
So, meron.
category, kaya nga, I told you.
No, it doesn't matter kung masama o good It doesn't matter.
Yes, doesn't matter kung
Okay.
masama o ano. Kaya nga, sinasabi ko sa'yo, ang distinct, okay, do not be confused. Following the rules, presume following the rules is the same.
Okay,
Okay.
so wala tayong distinction.
Okay, walang distinction doon. Okay?
Okay.
Ngayon, pag ang tanong mo, are they following their rules? Yes, they are presumed to follow their rules. So, ibig sabihin, yes, they are following their rules. Okay? Ngayon, ang sinasabi ko dito is, okay, do not confuse it dun sa fact na whether or not we agree dun sa mga rules na
I'm not confusing it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay na rin tayo doon. So, ngayon, balik tayo dun sa question ko. Why is that important for you?
Kasi 'di ba, ang sabi mo kasi kaya siya naging false analogy because the difference is not having the rules and having the rules. Sabi ko, how is that relevant to the analogy kung confronting ng evidence and then you actually, sige nga, ilabas, i-deny mo, and then lalabas ko yung evidence. Right? Yun yung analogy ko. Sabi ko, how is that different?
Okay, there is difference because hindi nga assured na mangyayari yung mga sinasabi mo sa House of Representatives.
Kaya nga, two-prong yung, yung tanong ko noon. You already agreed. The House have been following the rules. Their rules, kung ano man yon, mabuti o pangit, it doesn't matter. They've been following the rules. Okay?
Yeah.
You agree with that? Ngayon, yung mga speakers, yung resource person, have they been following the rules?
Who?
Have they been following the rules?
Oh, the
Yung mga
speakers,
resource persons, the witnesses, the resource persons, have they
It depends entirely on the It depends entirely on the House of Representatives. Kasi kahit naman we follow the rules, kahit naman we follow or not, if they feel that we don't follow the rules, they can consider it as not following the rules.
Okay, so ibig sabihin, sinasabi mo yung congressmen, they have been following the rules.
Yeah.
But the resource persons, the witness, you don't know.
Exactly. They are at the behest of the congressmen.
Okay, how is that now relevant to my analogy kung sinasabi mo palang hindi ka rin pala sure doon sa kabilang side? Sa sure ka lang doon sa congressmen. Pero hindi ka sure doon sa speakers. Pero ang analogy ko is kayong dalawa ni Maharlika, right? Sino si Maharlika? Sino sa Di ba doon sa both sides?
Anong both sides? Which side?
Kasi sinasabi mo pala, ang nag-follow lang ng rules is yung congressmen. Pero you're not sure kung na-follow yung rules nung witnesses. So, paano mo ngayon sasabihin na false yung analogy ko kung...
Confused ka na.
Ikaw yung confused.
Confused ka na.
Ikaw yung confused.
Confused ka na. The rules that we are talking about sa House of Representatives is yung rules ng hearing nila.
Correct.
May rules ba kami ng hearing ni Maharlika?
May rules ba yung... Kaya nga eh.
Sino yung congress amin ni Maharlika? Sino yung
Kaya nga... Ito, isa-isahin ko So, sinasabi mo is, si Maharlika at saka kayo, wala kayo rules, right?
Oh.
Si Maharlika at saka ikaw, walang rules. Walang rules sa'yo, walang rules sa kanya. Tama? So, sinasabi mo ngayon dito, ito, yung Congress, they have been following the rules, pero there's witnesses, hindi mo alam.
Exactly.
Tama? O sige, apat yan, di ba? Yung isa nag-represent kay Maharlika, yung isa hindi. Yung isa may rules, isa wala. So ngayon teka. Pero ang dispute mo is, wait lang, yun nga yung dispute mo di ba? Ang dispute mo kasi, yung congressman, sino yung congressman? Tama?
When we talk about the congressman, ito, yung infracom ang tinutukoy natin dyan, ha? Okay.
Hindi, the Congress as a whole. Okay, the Congress as a whole.
Sige.
Ngayon ang dispute mo is, teka, may rules kasi eh. May rules kasi yung Congress. Pero you agree na yung mga witnesses, hindi mo alam kung nag-follow sa rules, ang alam mo lang yung Congress. So, ibig sabihin, how is it relevant sa analogy ko kung dito hindi nga pantay?
Exactly.
Hindi mo alam kung nag-follow na rules to eh.
Sino? Sinong hindi nag-follow ng rules?
Yung mga witnesses, tsaka yung mga resource persons. How is that affecting my analogy? It doesn't.
it affects your analogy. Okay? It affects your analogy because yung mga speaker nga doon, mga resource person, they are at the mercy kung paano i-interpret ng House of Representatives yung behavior nila, whether or not it is compliant with their own rules. Okay? Ngayon, pagdating sa amin ni Maharlika, sino magdidikta ng rules?
Well, paano kung hindi kanya i-content?
Ano paano hindi kanya i-content?
Eh di nasa mercy ka rin niya. Kung di siya sumagot sa'yo. Kasi, paano siya naging relevant sa analogy ko?
I-content. Paano? Pwede ko rin naman siya i-content.
O hindi kanya i-content? How is that
hindi
different
ko i-content.
sa hindi ka binibigyan ng presence doon sa side niya? Hindi kanya binibigyan ng pagkakataon doon sa side niya? How is that different?
How is that different?
Kasi gusto mo nga sabihin false analogy kasi may rules nga raw sila, di ba?
Oo nga, ano nga yung rules namin ni Maharlika? O so ngayon, i-content nga ako, hindi niya ako i-content, ko-content ko siya, hindi ko siya i-content.
Kaya nga ang question ko sa'yo, how is the rules relevant to my analogy?
Ikaw ang invoke ng relevance ng rules, kaya nga tinatanong kita.
No, ikaw yung nag-invoke noon. Sabi mo kasi, di ba yung difference? Kaya nga sabi mo false analogy. Hindi ba ikaw nagsabi noon?
Alam mo kayo, we are going around circles here and you just refuse to to acknowledge the fact that there is inherent difference between Magalong and House of Representatives and me and Maharlika. I think everyone here
that's why it's an analogy. Because there's difference.
Your analogy is poor.
Yeah, you haven't proved that. Pero thank you for the time.
I have proven that. Tayo.
Yeah, sure.
Your analogy is poor because you are saying, sabi ni Maharlika, okay, Maharlika is sovereign in her own content, I am sovereign in my own content. The House of Representatives is sovereign in their own hearing, Magalong is not sovereign doon sa kanyang pwedeng sabihin, that's the difference. Si House of Representatives may control, si Magalong walang control. Kaming dalawa ni Maharlika, parehas kaming may control sa content namin at sa mga sasabihin namin.
Again, how does that affect my analogy? Ulit, yung sa confronting evidence and then pinapakita, sige, i-deny mo, papakita ko sa evidence and then there's reaction.
It affects your analogy because it demonstrates clearly that the two circumstances are not on the same footing.
How is that? Tama, do you understand what analogy is?
Yeah.
What is it? Do they have to be the same?
Well, the similarity of your analogy cannot carry whatever reason that you want to propose.
Ano ba yung similarity na binigay ko? Saying there's evidence and challenging and to deny it, and then before you actually expose the evidence. Yun lang yung analogy ko, right?
Analogy
and
mo
then
na
yung
yan.
smuggle, there's rules.
Yung analogy mo na yan, it's not going to be present doon sa House of Representatives kasi may power imbalance nga doon.
Hindi naman yung sabi ko, yung action lang eh.
Yeah, even that action, that specific action, hindi nga yan po pwedeng mangyari doon. You cannot rely that it's going to happen in the House of Representatives because there is power imbalance there.
Kahit pa may power imbalance, it doesn't affect my analogy because why? Si Celis, hindi ba tumayo at sumigaw doon? That's still, they can still do that. So how does that affect my analogy? I don't get it.
Then it affects your claim that you are concerned with truth. You're not concerned with truth. You're just concerned about
No. Akala ko pa ako yung umaalis. Parang ikaw yung umaalis ngayon. Pero anyway, salamat. I think we're in circles. So, salamat na rin sa time. Salamat din sa inyo dyan. Salamat sa iyo, kay Sash. Salamat na rin sa iyo, Joey. Ha?
Yeah. Okay,
Bye-bye.
okay. Okay, bye.